Go.
My name is Thomas Lee, and for my teaching demonstration for EDU 1010, I will be teaching my classmate Josh Green about the economical theory differences between Adam Smith and Karl Marx. First, a quick background on both and why they're relevant today. Adam Smith is credited with the invisible hand theory, which you'll hear today in modern economics often. And Karl Marx is the father of communism. He wrote the Communist Manifesto, and communist economy has been a hot topic in America ever since World War II. First off, start with Adam Smith. He was very important in the founding of our country. He was putting out most of his philosophies during the same time as our American Revolution. Our forefathers actually based their economical principles off of his economical theories. Karl Marx, he was alive during the Industrial Revolution, and he saw the Industrial Revolution and thought it just turned regular people into slaves. We're going to have extremely contrasting views on the economy and what capitalism and greed can do to people. Let's just explore those a little more right now. First off, Adam Smith is accredited with the invisible hand theory. This theory states that a man, however he gains his own profit by his own will also benefit that of his society. Karl Marx, on the other hand, is credited with the communist economy. He believes that the obtaining of profit or the need for greed will lead to the downfall of a society. So the base difference here we have is invisible hand. Greed is good, profit will lead to people seeking their own interests, benefiting society. Karl Marx, profit turns people into slaves. So we get to the wealthy. Adam Smith's views on the wealthy are good. He believes it takes wealthy people in order for society to progress. Karl Marx's views on the wealthy? Bad. He believes the wealthy are what enslaves the rest of mankind. Next, we'll get to the term laissez-faire. Laissez-faire is simply a term that means an economy completely free of government tariffs, taxes, or laws. So a completely almost anarchist economy. Adam Smith believed that less government involved, the better. So he would be in favor of a laissez-faire economy. Karl Marx, however, believed that everything should be completely restricted and the government should be in complete control. So he is absolutely opposed. To laissez-faire economics. Any questions on laissez-faire and the men's opinion on it?
Not on laissez-faire, but I did have one question about, it seems that Karl Marx was just a little bit after Adam Smith there in the time frame numbers you got up. And so I was wondering, is the invisible hand theory like kind of a response to communism? Because from what I understand about that, it's more around, since the people are free to do whatever they like to do, they will inherently benefit the rest of the society, whereas in communism it seems like people would kind of do the bare minimum because what they do on their own doesn't really promote any of themselves, so it wouldn't help the community. So is it kind of a response to communism? I don't really know, was communism around beforehand?
The ideas of communism existed way back in the feudal age. Actually, the term invisible hand, although it was stated by Adam Smith, was not actually coined until later American times. He said it, but it was not a popular phrase. It did not become this land is governed by the invisible hand, the economy is governed by the invisible hand, but he did originally state it. When communism did become a hot topic in America, we then used the invisible hand as a direct opponent to communism. So yes, the invisible hand was used in direct opposition to communism. You'll hear it a lot in today's modern time. However, before Karl Marx, communism was more of a fleeting idea than a movement. And Adam Smith was before, and his theories were before.
Okay, I see.
Hope that answers your question. So laissez-faire, where we ended off, was pretty much had to do with government's interaction with economy. Now when it comes to government interaction with economy, Karl Marx is in favor. He believes, well, this is where things get a little tricky. He believes in no government in communism. He actually believes that everything belongs to the people. So to say he's in favor of government is a stretch. But in order for communism to exist, the government must at first take control and then fall, and then give their economy over to communism. So he's in favor of an uprising. And then an eventual overthrow of government in all forms of economy. Adam Smith believes that government should not be involved in the economy. He believes that the bare minimum is what the government should do in order to take control of the economy. And by the bare minimum, I mean he's quoted as saying, I believe, not a quote, let me paraphrase, he believed that the government should only be in charge of putting those in jail who hurt people with their greed and lust for profits. So he would be against something like big tobacco selling cigarettes to kill people. He would see that as it's the government's job to protect people, not to control the economy. But by putting people in jail for selling something that kills somebody, that would in turn affect the economy. While Karl Marx, I'm actually going to raise favor now. I think I put the point clear that he needs government to work communism, but in the end, government becomes a non-issue, because in communism there is no real government. Government is controlled and only in the hands of the sole people. I know that might have sounded a little convoluted. Any questions on their government roles?
From what I knew of communism, I thought that almost everybody had to just pay, it's almost like they have 100% tax and then all of the money is reallocated amongst everybody. Is that not accurate?
That is not true communism, that is actually socialism.
I see.
Yeah. Communism, a good way to think of it, funny way to think of it, is as a hippie commune. None of them want any control, they all just want to share, they all just, here, you take this, I take that, you need a hammer, borrow my hammer, I'll take your... So, socialism though is often linked with communism, and social states are often credited with being communistic states, but there is a vast difference. A social state is, the means of manufacture is controlled by the government. A communist state is the means of manufacture and all products and all goods are controlled by the people. So that's going to be a huge discrepancy. Some people confuse communism with socialism there. Excellent question though, Josh. And now we get to the proletariat. I'll also put down here the poor. Or working class. We'll just call them poor because it's a little quicker to write offhand. Adam Smith believes that the poor were a necessary, he wouldn't even call them an evil, just a necessary means for the wealthy to progress society. So the poor are needed. Karl Marx with communism, the poor wouldn't exist. So we'll talk about what Karl Marx thought of the poor before communism. He thought all poor men were slaves. He thought the Industrial Revolution was just a new way to get people to do things they didn't want to do. But since they paid them minimally, they had to do that job. So they were enslaved by their paychecks, enslaved by their bosses, enslaved by their work. And then finally, we get to progress. Adam Smith believed progress came from wealth and development. Because he believes that that profit and wealth will lead to the greater good of the general public. Karl Marx believed that progress was equality. He thought to become a higher being of man, or the man that we're supposed to be, money couldn't be an issue and everybody had to be equal on an equal stance, equal footing, and no one had the right to demand anybody do anything. So that is a general overview of the economical theories that separate Adam Smith from Karl Marx. Any further questions, Josh?
No, I think that's about it.
Excellent. Thank you for watching my demonstration.